this beautiful morning. My name is Abiola Ismail, your regular anchor on business segment of the Bumper Breakfast Show here at Mitv. This morning we shall be looking at the banking industry and also insecurity in Nigeria. The two goes so by the time we start the discussion, you get to know about it. And I have in the studio with me somebody who has been working in the banking industry for more than 2 decades. He has worked all along about 9 banks, and today he is very versatile when it comes to information communication technology in the banking industry. We've talked about KYC, know your customers. Now, the issue on ground now that we're looking at this morning is the involvement of banks in ransom collection from these kidnappers, from these abductors. Now, before I go on, good morning.
Good morning, yes.
Omolashe is an engineer and has worked in the banking industry for years. This morning, we want to look at, we've been talking about the bank as saves, the bank as sand, the bank, Nigerian banking, they are good, they can withhold anything, any pressure here and there. But the issue of the KYC, what can you say about it before we go into integrity of how this ransom have been paid through the bank? Talking about millions of naira.
And there are 2 issues involved. Yeah. We all like to say KYC. KYC is just know your customers well. And it starts from account opening process in a bank. Yeah. When you are opening accounts, you will submit your individual identification means, whether national driver's license, national voter's card, permanent voter's card, etc., or your NIM now, national identification. But banking goes beyond just getting those informations. The first level of banking is about know your customer, goes beyond just those informations. It goes into critical analysis, which we call customer identification profile. When you are talking of customer identification profile, you have identified a particular customer. If it's an individual, you have known that he's working in a place, and that place salary comes in regularly into that account. You can project this is the salary that comes in regularly into this account. Having said that, if a sudden lodgement comes into that account, it becomes your responsibility to alert your internal control, because everybody cannot be communicating with NFI, National Financial Intelligence Unit, arm of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. It's the responsibility of those in inspection and audit. Audit is different, inspection, because inspection is to inspect that all what you are doing come within the framework of government policies, regulations, and acts of central bank monitoring you. So if that is done properly, I will not see a reason why a bank should sleep while kidnappers are lodging money to the account. Because, for instance, if it's a corporate account, there must be Corporate Affairs Commission CAC papers that entails the person to pass through the account opening process, which the lawyer in the bank have sufficiently done search on that account. That search has already brought out his memorandum and articles of association that this is the type of business he does. If it's a cleaning business, for instance, you will even see the lodgements coming in. Ordinarily, you know that if somebody is even cleaning a branch of a bank, for instance, the maximum they can pay him in a month, maybe 200 or 400,000 to pay the cleaners. But when you see 40 million suddenly, yeah, you need to raise alert. Is it cleaning for hotels? Even if it's cleaning for hotel, what's the turnover of the hotel that will make them to lodge 40, 60 million? These are customer identification profile, a difference from KYC. Okay. So we need to marry the two together. And in the areas of Money Laundering Act 2, somebody needs to look at kiting. What do we call kiting in banking? Kiting is a process that a money comes to an account. Indian companies, when I was in merchant bank a lot, they do it because they believe we lend enormously based on turnover, sales of their company. So if they want to have a very robust turnover, they will bring to a bank a merchant bank A, 10 million. The same time, they are lodging an account, another check in merchant bank B. So under clearing, in the clearing system, the two checks will meet. But when you see money comes to bank A, it's a turnover, credit turnover. The same money will act as debit turnover. That account is nil. The other account is having credit. They can even do it round trip, kiting 4 times. So by the time you are doing the analysis, if you are not careful, if you are not meticulous, and you are not intelligent credit analyst, you fall into their hand. Because turnover actual is 10 million. But now they are using kiting to build it to 40 million. So you will lend enormously. That's what killed many of those merchant banks then. Because in attempt to get profit, many of them were lending to an Indian or is an Asian company or local company that has just 10 million turnover and erroneously believing that is 40 million. It's part of customer identification. Because if you know that the raw materials, the company gave you the balance sheet. The balance sheet has the stock. He has under the current asset, the stock at what he has purchased as sales. And the stock of a company is 20 million maximum. How has he now sold 40 million? And you believe these are the challenges that we face.
Now, just last week, a former Minister of Communication, Mr. Pantami, who has been an advocate of you should not pay ransom to kidnappers, also came out to even drop 50 million to get a family rescued from these abductors. Now, the issue now is the professor, our former minister, cannot go with cash. So some people collected the money on behalf of some these people. That is why we want to look at the involvement of banks in this area.
Is it collected in cash?
It's not. The money was not collected in cash.
Through transfers.
Through transfer. Then there must be input from the banking for these people to be able to get this money out. Now, let's look at the information technology or ICT department in all these banks. What do you think the CBN, because by February, CBN will be having the first monetary policy under the CBN governor, Cardoso, by February. Now, as they are going to these monetary policy, what do you think should come out of these people to let us know how to trap or to get the abductors?
You know, the problem we have in Nigeria, Central Bank is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed in the sense that when they are meeting next now, their focus will not even be what you are looking at in terms of this kidnapping funds going through the financial system. It will be more of looking at financial system stability. What would we call financial system stability? Central Bank has been increasing monetary policy rate.
Yes.
In the last 2 to 3 years, they've moved it from 11% to 18.75. And at the same time, as they are moving it, inflation is moving even faster than the monetary policy rate. Then showing that monetary policy rate is ineffective. And why that policy is ineffective is that in today's market, Central Bank has not more than 10% control on what causes inflation. Inflation is caused by a lot of factors. The ones that the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics is giving us as data that Central Bank is using is coming from consumer price index, which is CPI. But what is driving consumer price index is another hidden item, which we call producers price index. Take for instance now, I'm a producer of cocoa in Ekiti, for instance. And last year I couldn't sell because of challenges of black pots, all these things. Now we have to buy chemical. Exchange rate has doubled between now and between last year and now. So the chemicals that we buy has doubled. What we go to my input cost, double cost. So, and exchange rate, which is within the reach of Central Bank to control, to manage under their secondary rule, which is exchange rate stability, because price stability is first rule. They can't manage it because if you look at Central Bank today, they are not equipped as institution to withstand any global pressure. Why and how? balance sheet of institutions is what we financial and economic analysts use to identify whether those institutions are competent, are strong or reliable.
Yeah.
Today, I don't see that in Central Bank, because Central Bank of Nigeria has 81 trillion balance sheet as I'm talking to
Before
you.
we go into that, that's another day for us. Let's look at this issue of
banditry.
Yeah.
The issue of banditry can only be controlled through very robust economy. You know what is causing it is the economy is poor now. Many people are taking advantage of even inefficiency of the security system to extort money in terms of ransom. But as we are saying, if the banking system is thoroughly managed in terms of customer identification and IT system is working in conjunction with telecommunications, because there must be synergy. There is a gap now in communication. See, for instance, now, if a customer of a bank come this morning to Bank A to say, oh, somebody phoned me, it's a 419. The bank has no power to block that phone number. The bank is being supervised by Central Bank. The telecommunications is being supervised by National Communication Commission, NCC. So there must be synergy between all these organizations, that they have a platform that is having robust software, that those number will migrate to that platform immediately and get blocked. For instance, too, if somebody has NIM of even the person that want to dupe you, the bank has no power to block the INM, or BVN, for it not to be used in other banks. So the synergy should cover even Nigerian Identification Management Company, all those institutions that have role to play should come as a conglomerate, form a platform that can easily address issue of people getting ransom paid through banking system. Because how can we, even it's getting worse now, they are even need crowding funding. You know what we call crowd is the most risky thing that can happen. Crowdfunding is that they kidnap your relative, you don't have money, you now planted some messages to your WhatsApp or Facebook that people should be paying to such account 300,000, 400,000. And when kidnappers are seeing this, because they are on the same, even those being kidnapped, at times they are their friends on Facebook. You know, Nigerians are very loose in terms of social life. Even if he's traveling to Abuja, immediately he gets to airport now, he's going to snap himself, put it on his social media. I'm a big boy, I'm going to Abuja right away. I will land in Abuja in the next hour. So if a kidnapper wants to kidnap him, it's already waiting for him at Abuja. So people too should behave themselves. They should limit information they give about their family, about their business, about their life circle to people. Even your children, they have bad day, you post it on social media, everybody knows. They can even get you kidnapped with all your family and siblings. So play less on that, sir.
Engineer, I must say that you've been able to at least get to the name. And lastly, I want you to just tell us, is our banks, our banks in Nigeria today, Nigerian banks, are they safe? If I can say that with the when we started the financial inclusion in 2012 until now, will you say that at present Nigerian banks, they are safe, they can compete with international banks when it comes to any project whatsoever?
No, when we are talking of competition in banking, you don't use safeness as a metric to judge a bank. You use the soundness.
Are they sound?
Sound. Well, I may not be able to say a bank is sound or not sound, but I may be able to tell Nigerians the financial ratios that will let somebody with common sense to know that a bank is not sound. And the common sense is about camel. I just said it on radio, your other radio, Star FM program about camel. That is not animal. Camel is about capital adequacy of that bank. And when you are talking of capital adequacy in those days, you use the capital of the bank to risk-weighted average of the assets, I mean the risk assets. If a bank is giving loan of 1 trillion, for instance, now if it's a national bank, we expect him to have 15% as a capital, which is 150 billion. But it goes beyond that. That's why I said earlier on my radio topic that there was an agreement in 1974 at Switzerland between 10 banks, mostly from Bentwood countries. Bentwood countries are countries where IMF, all these are located, United States. They came with Basel 1 then. Basel 1 is just a framework that will allow a good analyst to identify the capital of the bank, liquidity and sensitivity. And when we are talking of sensitivity, we are talking of the market risk, because some banks are exposed to market risk more than the other. You know, in those days when Malam Shanusi Lamido took over some 5 banks initially, it's not that they would have gone into insolvency. The insolvency was caused by crash in capital market as a result of global financial crisis. So having mentioned that, we are already on Basel 3, but Nigeria has not even complied with Basel 2. So that's the truth now. So we can't be talking of sadness or with somebody who has not complied with Basel 3, is on Basel 2, and Basel 2 safe. I'm not sure whether many of them will pass through this test. Let us leave capital out of it now. Let us go to managing capability. Recently, just last week, central bank changed management of 3 banks.
3 banks.
If they are capable, will they change them? No. But when you change management, you are telling the depositors that those who are managing,
they are not capable.
They are not capable. So score those banks low now.
But because of the issue, when it comes to taking over the bank,
yes, it has implication, because I will tell you where it has implication. When you are talking of management capability, the score, you know, this camel that is in financial analysis, you score it 2 points for capital, 3 points for management, 4 points for earnings. Then 2 banks that were taken over. I think out of 3 banks, only Union Bank has been publishing results. You can't see result of Keystone Bank in any paper, to the best of my knowledge, in the last 3 to 4 years. You can't see the published result of Polaris Bank since they migrated from Sky Bank to Polaris. There is no single paper you will see last year or 2 years ago that will say, oh, these are the profit and loss account of. So how do you measure the earnings of a bank that is not even giving you information? Okay. Having said that, let us look to liquidity.
When you are looking at liquidity ratios, engineer, this is the place where I think that we are going to put a stop because of the time of another program that will be coming up. But certainly, I will still bring you back on set to discuss this issue.
That's the consultancy again.
No problem. That means to do a very good analysis on the camel that you just talked about.
Camels. That's camels. Sensitivity.
And the soundness of our banks, so that everybody, our guests, our viewers, will be able to take 1 or 2 things from whatever you will be sending. Thank you very much for your time, engineer. I really appreciate your coming.
No problem.
This is where I'll be rounding up. My name is Abiola Ismail, and I believe you're still going to join me tomorrow, same time, to discuss more on economy here in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us.